I get triggered all the time by my emotions. And here's how you deal with them. In fact, the place that I get the most triggered is getting frustrated with my kids. And I don't want to be that kind of mom. I don't want to be the kind of mom that's constantly frazzled, that's snapping at my kids, that resents my husband. I really want to have the best of me reserved for my family. But isn't it the truth that often it's the people that we love the most that we end up trashing on all the time? So here's how you're going to manage your emotions. Number one, you cannot control the that's happening around you. There's always going to be things that happen that you can't control. That's okay, that's life. Understand that you can always control what you think and what you do in response to the things that are happening. So, what does that mean? It means that if you're the kind of person that gets triggered easily, you get pissed off, you snap at people, you build resentment, you're going to use the 5-second rule. You're going to use the 5-second rule the second you feel that wave of emotion. And I know exactly what you're feeling. You know how that thing happens with the people that you love where you see them and you just want to kill them? It happens to me too, and it happens to the people who love me. It's normal to have frustrations rise up, but it's a choice to let those emotions make you snap. So what you're going to do the next time you feel your emotions rise up is you're going to count backwards using the 5-second rule. You're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The second you hit 1, your prefrontal cortex should be engaged because we're drawing the focus away from the interior part of your brain and we are awakening your prefrontal cortex. You now have control. You have the ability to choose what you do next. I use this technique to manage my response to the emotional triggers all the time with my kids. When normally in the past, something that they did would make me really upset and I would snap, I now silently count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that alone allows me to collect myself, adjust my tone of voice, and speak in a way that actually is consistent with the kind of parent that I want to be. The other thing that I found is that the more that I interrupt myself from snapping or being triggered by my emotions, the easier it gets. And the second thing that I've noticed is that by simply lowering my tone or slowing down my pace, in other words, being in control of what I'm doing, it is amazing how much more effective I am actually as a parent because I'm not getting emotional. And I think oftentimes with the people that we love the most, we get into these patterns that are really destructive where we're triggered by each other and then we get emotional and then we use our emotions as a justification to not be great with people. And so all of what we're talking about is normal. It's normal to feel frustrated. Letting it make you snap, that's a choice. It's normal to get angry. Letting that be a justification for being or abusive to somebody, that's a choice. And it's a choice you don't have to make when you start to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 manage yourself in response to the things that are triggering you. Have you noticed that your eating has gone off the rails, or is it just me? I feel like it's noon here outside of Boston and I'm ready for my 5th meal of the day. Give me some thumbs up if you find that in some way or other, all of the uncertainty of this moment is making your eating habits completely change for the better, for the worse. It could make you eat more, which is what happens to me. I also want to be very careful about this topic because one of our daughters has struggled, particularly in high school, with dysmorphia and body images. And her therapist said she was borderline anorexic, whatever that means. It means that she wasn't eating and she was restricting her intake. And I know that right now is an incredibly triggering moment in time for people that are in recovery for eating disorders or any other kind of addictive behavior like that. And so I want to talk about emotional eating because I've been noticing that my own eating habits have gone off the rails. And I've also been noticing these memes and these topics going around. Like, have you heard of quarantine 15? Apparently it's the 15 pounds everybody's going to gain while you're in quarantine, or COVID 1919. And these memes of the before and after. And while they may seem funny in the moment, emotional eating is a very serious topic. And the reason why it's a serious topic is because it ties into stress, negative emotions, and your self-awareness. Self-awareness, you're going to hear me talk about this a million times. I think it is one of the most important skills on the planet. Self-awareness is not only knowing thyself, but it's your ability to manage your emotions and your emotional response to the things that are going on around you. And if you do not have self-awareness, oftentimes what happens is you respond out of hurt, you respond out of fear, you respond out of pain. And what I want to teach you today is I want to teach you the self-awareness that you need in this moment of time to really be mindful about your health and about your eating habits. I want you to come from this place, from your heart. I want you to come from a place of being kind to yourself. And I want you to come from a place of supporting yourself. The conversation that we're about to have about emotional eating, this is not about body shaming. Not at all. It's normal to feel stressed out in unprecedented, uncertain times. And it is normal to want to try to comfort yourself. I want to have a conversation with you about you being healthy mentally, physically, and emotionally, which is why I want to talk about this topic, because the greatest skill on the planet is self-awareness. And self-awareness allows you to stand in the discomfort of a moment like this and be okay, and to know that you can rely on yourself. So first, I want to start by talking to you. How have you noticed that this moment in time has impacted your eating? First of all, have you noticed a change at all? And secondly, how has it changed? I just said that it's about noon here, 12:08 to be exact, and I'm already craving my 5th meal of the day. So I am certainly eating a hell of a lot more. I've also noticed that when the grocery bags come home from the grocery store, whoever it is that goes out for the run, that there's always things in it that we normally wouldn't buy. For example, Lucky Charms, which is not a cereal that our family ever buys, somehow made its way in the grocery bags a couple days ago. So did s'mores fixing, enough basically to serve an entire summer camp. I see Angelette saying she's eating more snacks, not the healthy kind. I'm eating constantly. I was dairy free. Now I'm not. I'm craving chocolate all the time. The comfort foods. I want more sugar. Exactly. You're eating more carbs. I eat worse and I eat less. I eat whatever's in front of me. I see your comments. And so I see that this unprecedented moment is 1,000% triggering you to change the way that you eat. And you might not even be thinking about what Candy Knock just said, anxiety and stress eating. My breakfast is my coffee. I'm cooking healthy meals, but I'm eating a lot more than I do. I see your comments rolling in. I am struggling with this as well. And so let's talk about, what do you do in this moment? Because first of all, I want you to feel comfortable. I want you, since you're already having to go through so much discomfort and uncertainty, I want you to feel really good. And I don't want you to make yourself wrong. And I think this sort of response to the amount of stress that we're feeling is really a normal response, because there's so many things that are triggering your negative emotions. But now it's time for you to tune back in, because the truth is, whatever it is that's stressing you out, the answer is not going to be in the fridge. It's just not. I'm going to say that again. Whatever it is that's stressing you out, the answer to dealing with that stress is not in the fridge. And so the first place that we need to start when it comes to self-awareness and unpacking this new emotional eating that we're all engaged in right now is, you've got to start by asking yourself the question, why? Why am I eating? Why am I reaching for this? Why am I no longer allowing myself or making myself stay off the gluten? Why am I doing all of this that I know it's bad for me, but at the moment I like it? Well, here's the thing that I want you to understand about emotional eating. Emotional eating is when you reach for food to comfort a negative emotion. And when you find yourself being triggered by negative emotions and it impacting your eating habits, it's a symptom of something bigger. It's a symptom of some kind of negative emotion that you're uncomfortable feeling. And so I want to start by asking you a question. Okay, here we go. You ready, everybody? What is the negative emotion that triggers you the most to either stress eat or not eat at all because you're so stressed? What's the emotion? For me, I just want to say what mine is, and then we're going to go to you, because you're right. I see DeWichika saying there's also emotional undereating. You're absolutely right. There is. And I see my daughter doing that. And I know Megan on our team is undereating right now out of the stress. For me, the big trigger, boredom. Boredom. And if I'm not busy, I don't know what to do with myself. That's what I'm learning about myself. But if I go a little deeper than boredom, I think it's fear. I think it's the unknown. Like, I'll walk off of this live stream, you guys, and I've got 15 minutes. I see the things you're saying: lonely, unsure, insecurity, boredom, loneliness. Loneliness is a huge one, everybody. And I'm going to talk to you about the 5 things that we're getting from feeding our emotions. You see, we're not even eating food when we reach for stuff and we're not thinking about it. We're feeding emotions. I see I'm numbing. I see sadness. I see overthinking, aggression. It makes me so defensive and stressed out. These are the things that are making you mindlessly reach for food that you know is making you feel bad about yourself. And, you know, I'm going to talk about all of the reasons why we do this and a few things that I want you to think about, because today's broadcast, I gave you so much information yesterday about addressing financial anxiety. I want today to just be more of lifting you up and making you feel encouraged and giving you a little bit of perspective and insight so that you can gain back a little bit of control, so that you can build some awareness, some self-awareness, which is going to give you the resiliency and the kindness towards yourself to make better choices. I know we have some other people, Megan or Mandy, so just give them to me in my ear. So we have fear of the unknown, fear and anxiety. And I also see that there's a lot of fear that you're feeling about the financial uncertainty that you're facing. Excellent job, everybody. Excellent. Because the first step of building self-awareness is to stop, take a pause, and to have the courage to turn inward and examine the discomfort that you're feeling. Okay. And so one of the things that I've noticed is that when I'm bored, I reach for food. That when the day isn't packed with things to do, I sort of move it along by eating. And that can be a good thing if you're planning meals that make you happy, that make you healthy. It can be a good thing if you're cooking a great dinner. And you know, one of the live streams we talked about last week, do family dinners every night. But I've even noticed my kids are emotionally eating. So we sat down for dinner last night, and Oakley, our 15-year-old son, pulled up to the table, and I had I'd made this awesome dinner, took all this time with this new recipe I'd never made. And he's like, "This looks great, but I'm not hungry." I'm like, "What do you mean you're not hungry? It's 7:30 at night." He said, "Well, I had a bowl of cereal an hour ago." I'm thinking, holy cow. I'm like, "Why?" And he goes, "I don't know. I was bored." So we're all feeling it right now. And here's one of the things that I want to ask you. When you feel yourself reaching for something to comfort yourself, to soothe the boredom, to soothe the fear, to soothe the anxiety, to soothe the loneliness, does it come up like abruptly? Do you find yourself craving the same things? And then after you've pounded down the bowl of Lucky Charms, or you've had a second bowl of ice cream, or you've eaten your third lunch for the day, which seems to be the thing that I'm doing. I'm just eating tons and tons and tons of meals because whenever I'm not doing something, I feel like I need to be doing something. I'm clearly uncomfortable being still. I'm clearly uncomfortable with boredom. I'm clearly uncomfortable staying still, because when I get still, you know what happens for me? Does this happen for you? My mind starts to think. and I start to think about what's going on, and I start to feel a little bit afraid about the uncertainty. And then I literally reach immediately, abruptly, for something I'm craving, or something I see right there, a cookie, a Rice Krispie treat, something that's out that I can see, I grab. And then, of course, once I eat it, I think, well, why the hell did I do that? I haven't even, like, what am I doing? So this is, I see that you're feeling the same way, that it's abrupt, that it's things that you crave, that then you make yourself wrong. And this is the cycle that happens. And this is the reason why I want to talk about this. You can, if you want to just eat, and it makes you feel fabulous, go for it. This isn't about body shaming you. And while I think that this moment of time is an enormous opportunity for you and for me to work on our self-awareness and to work on our resiliency and to show the people in our life what it's like to face uncertainty and to meet it and to stand in the discomfort, that is the definition of courage. It is. That's a huge opportunity. But the thing that I want you to realize is that if you don't address how you're coping with the bigger negative stressors of the fear, the uncertainty, the anxiety, the loneliness, the sadness, maybe there's a lot of conflict in your house right now. I see a lot of you talking about conflict. I see a lot of you talking about fighting in your house, and that drives you into the kitchen. If you don't deal with the bigger issue, which is the discomfort of standing in these emotions, when we come through the other end of this, what I don't want you feeling is I don't want you making yourself wrong. I don't want you beating yourself up. I don't want you emerging from this feeling like, oh my God, why did I let myself gain weight? Why did I let myself go? And so right now is an opportunity to develop self-awareness, to stand in the discomfort, to stand in the boredom, to face the fear and not need a brownie in order to get through it. And so let me tell you why we eat our emotions. That's what we're doing. We're feeding emotions when you mindlessly eat, okay? And so as I'm telling you this, I want you to tell me, what emotion are you feeding? And if one of the reasons why, there are 5 reasons why we feed our negative emotions. It's a coping strategy, okay? There are 5 reasons why we do it. First of all, this is a big one, and this is particularly a big one for those of you in recovery for any kind of eating issue. Food is something you think you can control. And so it is a way for you to try to create certainty at a moment in time when things feel so uncertain. And that's why anybody that's in recovery right now, it's so important to be patient with yourself. It's so important to be kind with yourself, because you do not want to reach for destructive coping mechanisms to cope with the deeper issue of feeling uncertain about where this goes. I promise you, you can stand in this discomfort and you can face it. And if we stay connected, and if you continue to get daily encouragement, you will absolutely emerge stronger. The second reason why we feed our negative emotions is in order to numb them. Literally, you're burying the fear and the uncertainty and the anxiety and the stress with food, so you don't have to feel the emotion. You're present to the eating, you're present to a full stomach, you're present to the taste, and that way you're no longer feeling that negative emotion. The third reason why we feed our negative emotions, and I guarantee you, this is one that's going to hit home. If this hits home, I want to hear how this hits home for you. Food acts like a friend. So if you're isolated right now, if you're alone right now, if you feel alone, even if you're in a full home right now, eating is something that we grow up doing with other people. Eating can be like a companion. Eating can make you feel like you're not alone because it's so familiar. And so you may be eating too much or not eating enough because you feel so alone. Another reason why we feed our negative emotions, you want to distract yourself. This is me all day long. I'm bored. Underneath the boredom is fear. As long as I stay busy, I'm not thinking about the fact that the world feels like it's like ending. And so if I literally just kind of keep busy and I make the next meal and I stuff a brownie in my face and then I run back into my office, holy cow. It's making me realize that there's a lot of times during the day my feet aren't even on the ground because I don't want to be still. Because when I'm still, I think about what's going on and that scares the shit out of me sometimes. And so I reach for food, which distracts me. I reach for food because there's so much historical association with it, so it's comforting. And I reach for food because if I start making bread, which I'm going to do this afternoon, now I feel like I'm in control of something. And then finally, it fills time. You don't have to be still if you're cooking, if you're eating, if you're looking through the cupboards. There's only one thing you need to give up, and that's beating yourself up, okay? You need to have tremendous compassion for yourself right now. You need to acknowledge that you're going through something. And while you may feel alone, you're not alone. It's not just happening to you, it's happening to the entire world. And none of us have ever gone through this before. And so we're sorting it out day by day, and you're doing the best that you can with what you got. And what's the big famous quote that we all love from Maya Angelou? When you know better, you do better. And so now you know that self-awareness is critical, because self-awareness is being able to manage your emotions and your emotional response to things. It's having the courage to stand in discomfort and know that you're going to be okay. That's how you build resiliency. And it's connecting the dots between the eating that you're doing that's triggered by negative emotions and your ability to stand strong and face those negative emotions without numbing them, without distracting yourself from them. Because when you are able to stand strong and face them, then you can address them. And you can address them with better things than a brownie. You can tell what my go-to food is, right? So number one, stop beating yourself up. Number two, here's something. If it's out of sight, it's usually out of mind. And I love this study from Google. So Google loves data, and they did something called Project M&M. And they were curious to know if we simply took the M&Ms that they had in their New York City office, you guys, they used to have the M&Ms in this big glass jar that you could see. And they wondered if we moved the M&Ms from the big glass jar out in the cafeteria, up into a cupboard in a box that was labeled M&Ms, but you couldn't see the M&Ms, what would happen? I'll tell you what would happen. Just moving the stuff that you like to reach for, that you really don't want to reach for, up to the top shelf, it has magical powers, because out of sight, out of mind. If you see it in your kitchen, if you see it when you open the cupboard immediately, it's called an emotional trigger. It immediately triggers the part of your brain that loves emotional eating, and you will reach for it. At Google, by simply moving M&Ms off the counter in the work cafeteria, in a glass jar, and putting it in an opaque jar with the label M&Ms up in a cupboard, the Google staff of 2000 ate 3 million less calories of M&Ms in a matter of weeks. Why? Well, because if you see it, you're going to reach for it, okay? The second thing that I want you to do is, or third thing rather, is you can use the 5-second rule. The 5-second rule is the most powerful piece of science on the planet. It's a little brain hack. It helps with changing any habit. So if you have a habit of reaching for stuff, or mindlessly eating, or reaching for the bad thing instead of reaching for the good thing, whatever good and bad means in your world, you're going to use the 5-second rule to interrupt that behavior. You ready? Just count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As you're reaching for the brownie. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then turn around and reach for something else. You're going to use it as what we call a starting ritual in habit research to interrupt something that is not good for you, that you don't want to do, and push yourself to do something that is positive. The fourth thing that I love is I like a cheat day. I know that nutritional experts are mixed on this, but I personally love a cheat day, because what's life without an ice cream sundae occasionally? And so I just have a cheat day once a week where I'm allowed to eat whatever the heck I want. And not make myself wrong. And then that brings me to the fifth thing. And this may sound a little weird, but given that self-awareness and becoming self-aware of how you're eating emotionally and how negative emotions like fear and sadness and anxiety and stress are triggering you to eat things, and then that makes you feel bad. Let's get you out of that cycle, because really what's happening is you need a little training. We all do, in reminding yourself that you got this. You need a little training in reminding yourself that you're enough. You need a little training and reminding every single day that you are getting stronger and you are going to emerge from this a better version of yourself. And so here's what you can do. In the morning, take your toothbrush, and I brush with my right hand. That's my dominant hand. I want you to tomorrow morning switch your hand and brush with the hand you normally don't brush with, your non-dominant hand. For me, that means my left hand. And as you're brushing your teeth, you're going to notice, since you're brushing with the wrong hand, it's hard and you really have to concentrate, and it makes your mind focus and activate. It's a little brain hack I'm teaching you. And as you're brushing your teeth, I want you to have a little mantra. You're brushing with the hand you don't normally brush with. Your mind is really paying attention. I want you to have a little mantra. You ready? It could be, I'm enough. It could be, I deserve to feel healthy today. It could be, I got this. I got this. It could be, today, I'm going to make some healthy choices because I deserve to feel healthy today. It could be, I'm worthy and I can make it happen. And as you brush with the hand that you normally don't brush with, while your mind is activated and paying attention, all that little mantras that you're saying to yourself, I got this, I'm enough. Today, I'm going to make healthy choices because my body deserves to have fuel, not fear. Today, I'm going to be proud of myself. As you do that, it infuses in your brain. That's not a scientific word. That's my word right now, but it literally gets programmed into your brain, because as you are brushing your teeth and telling yourself you got this, and you're doing it with the hand you normally don't brush with, your mind is concentrating so it remembers it. And I want you to do this because I think so much of the emotional eating and so much of the fear and the anxiety is coming from this belief system that you're not going to be okay. It's coming from this belief system that you're not good enough. It's coming from this belief system that you're not strong enough to handle what life is throwing all of us. And you know what I say? That's bullshit. That is some old story, some old recording, some old programming that somebody else put in your mind, and you need to go to war against it. And you can do it simply by changing hands that you brush your teeth with and telling yourself and reminding yourself every morning the truth. And the truth is, you do have this. You will get through this. You can be more self-aware. You can stand in discomfort. You can be resilient in the face of all the uncertainty and the fighting that you're seeing in the house and on the news and all of the fear and all of the stress that you feel. You can rise to this moment. You can learn something from it. You can survive, and you will be proud of yourself. And so that's what I want you to know is available to you. That's what you can do. That's why I'm here every day, every weekday. I am here to remind you, you got this. I'm here to encourage you. I am here to tell you that no matter what's coming, together we are going to get through this. And when we look back on this moment of time, you will see that this challenge did what every challenge you've ever faced in your entire life has done. It has made you stronger. It has made you more self-aware, and it has made you a smarter, healthier, and more powerful version of the real you. So rise up today. You got it? Let me recap real quick. Self-awareness, it's a superpower, absolute superpower. And I want to find this quote that I had. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, I got it right here. Whatever is stressing you out right now, the answer is not in the fridge. It's not. The answer is in here. It's in tuning in and unpacking what's stressing you out and facing it. That's where the answer lies. And part of the opportunity of developing your self-awareness, which is your emotional resilience. It's your ability to control and manage your emotional response to things. Part of the opportunity of all this is you asking yourself when you are about to reach for something, why am I eating? Because when you ask yourself, why am I eating? You will literally get a one-way ticket right in here. You will come face to face with the negative emotion that you need to learn to stand with and feel. And the second you face it, something interesting happens with negativity. Ooh, it starts to disappear. Ooh, I see you, fear. I'm going to be okay. Oh, I see you, stress. I'm good enough to handle this. Oh, I see you, the idiot siblings that are fighting again. Have fun with that. I'm good. I'm going to come out of this and be strong and resilient. It's an opportunity for you to practice being comfortable with the uncomfortable. I'm telling you something. It may not be fun right now, and the days may be long, but when we come through this, you're going to look back and be like, whoa, wow. And I hope you look back and say, I am proud of myself. I'm proud of what I learned. I'm proud of how I learned I can rely on myself and I can face something very hard and I can get through it. And dare I say, I can find moments of joy in this. I think I am engaged in emotional eating right now. It is 2:22 in the afternoon. The wheels are off today. I know why. The reason why is because I did not stick to my normal routine. And I've noticed since I did not stick to my routine, my day has sort of slid off the rails in terms of the decisions that I'm making. It's really random. Like I had my son's chicken nuggets for lunch, and there's half an apple that I ate. I have not finished the amount of water I normally drink. It is 2:23, and I made myself an ice cream sundae because, why the hell not? And so as I'm sitting here enjoying my ice cream sundae, I just thought to myself, God, am I emotionally eating right now? Oh my God, this is so good. If I really unpack what I'm feeling right now, it's raining, it's freezing. I am mentally in a creative block, and I'm going to get this tool that we use on the Mel Robbins show out. I call it the word wheel. So I'm going to show you the word wheel right now. Here's how you use a word wheel. The average person can only name 3 emotions: happy, sad, and angry. But our emotions are actually much deeper and more complex. And the secret to getting unstuck or untriggered or freed up in any situation is to find the words that describe what you are truly feeling. So I'm going to start with the core emotion of anger and fear and work out from there. And so as I look at the word wheel, I feel inadequate as a writer. I feel worried that I'm not going to have a creative breakthrough. I feel helpless. The big one is I feel inadequate as a writer. Whoa, big breakthrough. So I am feeding my inadequacy with an ice cream sundae. You know what's interesting? Is simply finding the word that I feel inadequate as a writer. And that makes me feel afraid that the book isn't going to be good, that it's not going to be as good as I want. It's not going to do as well. It's not going to get any accolades or good reviews. It's not going to make a difference in your life. As you identify the feeling, and for me it's inadequate, that sundae doesn't taste very good anymore. Because it wasn't a sundae that I was craving. It was reassurance and comfort from this deeper feeling that I was feeling. Wow, that's powerful stuff. Really powerful stuff. So if you are at a moment where you catch yourself emotionally eating, or you just feel untethered or numb, pull out the word wheel. You can find it at melrobbins.com. And I think you'll find it to be a really incredible tool that will help you locate what you're truly working through. And instead of reaching for an ice cream sundae, which honestly is going to now tank my mood because of all the sugar, and make me feel lethargic. If you can identify the word, which for me is inadequate, inferior, worried, frustrated, you can let those feelings rise up, move through them, and then move on. Two hours later, and let me tell you the impact of having fed my feelings. First of all, I am totally bloated. So I realize that that's not big, but for me, my stomach is just like, oh, because all that sugar and dairy that I just pounded down is now sitting here like a rock. And this is the problem with emotional eating, is you get caught in this cycle where you feed these feelings and then your body starts to tank and your mood tanks and your stomach gets bloated. And so then you start to make yourself wrong and feel ashamed and feel like a bad person because you did it. So how do you stop emotional eating? And what business do I have giving any of us advice, given that I just did it? Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do tomorrow when I inevitably hit that creative block. Is emotional eating, you know that it's emotional if it's comes on suddenly, if you aren't just craving something, but you are reaching for something that is a treat or that's soothing. And before I do that tomorrow, when my writer's block inevitably happens again, I will take a deep breath and I will ask myself, what am I feeling? Why am I reaching for this food? Am I hungry, or am I trying to soothe or comfort or distract myself? Because I was clearly trying to soothe and distract myself from the feelings that writer's block was bringing up. And now I need to get some gas X or something, because I got to distract myself from the gas pains that I have from my emotional eating. But, honestly, the discomfort I'm feeling right now, that's not going to stop me from doing it tomorrow. The only thing that will stop this pattern is spotting the pattern and using the tools that I just gave you. Identify what you're feeling, ask you why it is you're reaching for this if you're not hungry, but you're trying to soothe, distract, or reward yourself. You're feeding some feeling. Recognize the feeling, put down the ice cream, go for a walk, choose something healthy, address the feeling. Don't reach for the food. I really hope you see this. My question is, what do you do when certain people and situations trigger negative emotions in you? If sometimes seeing these people is unavoidable at times, are there tools I can use to brace myself before entering these situations and to not let things bother me so much? Absolutely. People are a huge trigger. And the reason why people are a huge trigger is because we all have very different energies, right? And tones of voice. And so somebody, oh God, my computer's, hold on one second. My computer is deciding that it is tired and wants to go to sleep on me. Uh-oh. Where is hold on. See? I'm not panicking. I'm problem solving. Here we go. Oh my God. Oh. Get in. Oh dear. And here is oh gosh, this is really embarrassing. They told me that my lunch was going to show up at 1:30. So can I let this guy in and I'll keep going? I'm really embarrassed. But see, this is real life. Hi. Good morning. How are you? How are you? Good. I'm doing a live stream, so you're on camera. I just want to let you know. You don't have to unpack everything. I can do it. I'm really sorry for the interruption, everybody. I mismanaged this. But you're early, thank you, because I'm starving. I gave a speech this morning in Vegas and literally have had about this much to eat, and so I am starving. What's your name?
Felipe.
Felipe, thank you so much.
You're very
awesome.
welcome.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
I really appreciate you.
Toss lightly.
Awesome. You're the best.
Thank you very much. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you.
See, I ordered a salad, everybody, with a little protein.
Bye-bye now.
Bye. Have an awesome day.
Thanks so much.
So back to the question. I really hope you see this, Michael. Oh, people. So the really important thing is to try not to brace yourself, because when you're like, oh, about this, you're already tense and on edge. And so you're even more easily triggered. I would ask yourself, What is it about this person that triggers you? So is it just that they're irritating, or is it that they say things that confirms your limiting beliefs? They treat you in a way that triggers that limiting belief that you're trying to redirect. Couple tools that have really worked for me around people that trigger me. Number one, I always think about a force field. So I think about not bracing, but just having sort of a force field around me so that their stuff doesn't penetrate me. The second thing that has been hugely transformative for me is empathy. So I think that people that are jerks and people that are mean and people that snap and people that are negative and people that are grating, people that are rude, I think that they must have a horrible life. And I often say to myself, I wonder what happened. There's that tool again. I wonder what happened to them that made them this miserable. And it works. That technique works with bosses. It works with parents. It works with friends. To come from a little bit of empathy and realize it's not about you. There is something that is completely off with them. It's also helped me a lot to understand narcissism, and that narcissism is and can be a disorder. And if you are dealing with somebody who's a narcissist, you're dealing with somebody that actually doesn't have the capacity to care or be interested in other people. It truly is all about them. It's not personal. It's their issue. And so you got to be careful, though, when other people's behavior trigger the issues that you're working on. That's where the force field comes up. So I'll deal with the baloney I say to myself in my own mind, but I don't let other people do things that confirm it. Does that make sense? I literally just put the force fields up and I'm like, this is a miserable human being. This is an untransformed human being. This is an unhappy person. And can you imagine how awful it must be to live inside their brain all day long? I just come from that space. If it is a work situation, though, where somebody is treating you poorly, you have to also draw some boundaries. You really do. I realize your boss may be a jerk, but you can stand calmly as they're yelling and be like, hey, I'm happy to do whatever you ask, but do not yell at me, please. You can draw those boundaries because a lot of people that are irritating and annoying and grating, they don't even realize what they're doing. They're so triggered emotionally. It's so about them. They're so untransformed and they live at this plane. They don't do any self-awareness, no personal development. They don't even know the half of they haven't even occurred to them to reset their mindset. Hasn't even occurred to them to care about other people. Hasn't even occurred to them how their own behavior is impacting you. So also be clear that if these are people like family members that you have to see, you can draw boundaries and you should. If there are particular things that people do that irritate you, that trigger you, you can sit down and explain it because the person might not even realize it. My mom and I had a really powerful conversation a couple of years ago where we were in this cycle where we could spend about 3 days together on a vacation and then we would have a blow up. And we did. We had this big blow up about something really stupid. And then it was interesting. She said to me, why do you always take my blow up so damn personally? I'm just the kind of person that has an explosion. I get it out of me and then it's over. Why do you always think that it has something to do with you? It has nothing to do with you. And it was the first time, and this took me 47 years to realize that, holy cow, like part of the dynamic that was not working between my mom and I is that I took everything so damn personally because my issue is being afraid of disappointing people. She wasn't disappointed at all. She just was irritated. And it had, I might have done something to irritate her, but she has her explosion. She's done. It has literally changed our relationship because I changed how I processed her getting upset. And that only happened because we sat down and talked about it. And she was clear with me that, look, I'm just the kind of person that does this, and stop making it about you. Okay. It's nothing. This is how I move on. And I'm like, okay, I totally get it now. That's why I can't wait to dig into what we're going to talk about today, which is the power of your attitude. Now, here is the quote that I've picked to kick us off. If you stay positive in a negative situation, you win. Let me say the quote again today. If you stay positive in a negative situation, you win. What exactly are you winning? You're winning the war against negativity. You're winning the war against despair. You're winning the war against stress. And negativity, it is a sneaky little bastard. Let me tell you something, because it sort of creeps into your life. It creeps into your mind. It creeps into your skin and into your blood pressure. And before you even realize it, you've started to succumb to it. And how do you know that you are succumbing to negativity? Well, first of all, it depletes you. It has a heaviness to it. It has an intensity to it. And when you succumb to negativity, it changes your character. You snap at your kids. You snap at your teammates. You feel stuck. You feel on edge. You feel tense. And that's why I want to talk to you about the power of your attitude right now, because your brain is a pattern recognizing machine. And when you succumb to negativity, whether you think you're doing it or not, your brain will automatically start to see more negativity and feel more negativity, which is why it's so easy to get stuck ruminating and worrying and in this sort of loop that you can't get out of. And so we're going to talk today about building a positive attitude as a habit. Now, why do you want to build a positive attitude as a habit right now? Well, first of all, because a positive, powerful attitude is infectious. It inspires other people. It makes you resilient. And from a mindset perspective, it will help you spot more positive things. What positive things could you spot? You can spot opportunities. You can spot solutions to the problems that you're feeling. You can spot problem-solving strategies. You can spot ways to connect. You can spot ways to be more innovative. And so positive attitude breeds more positivity. That's why I want to teach you how to do it, because it's a strategy. Did you hear that word? So a powerful, positive attitude is not only a habit I want you to develop, but it is a strategy. And you're deploying other strategies right now to make you strong and to make you safe. You're washing your hands. You're getting supplies, you're editing your news intake, you're connecting with friends. Developing the habit of a powerful attitude is a strategy. And when you practice having a powerful attitude, what happens is it becomes a habit. What's a habit? It's just a pattern that you repeat. So instead of succumbing to negativity, which can become its own habit, your powerful attitude becomes a habit. And look, I'm not talking about like saccharine, stupid, unrealistic, throw caution to the wind. Let's just be positive. I'm positive I'm not going to get this. I'm positive I should go on spring break because I'm not at risk. I'm positive that I don't have to worry about that. That's not positivity. That's stupidity. Okay. What I'm talking about is the kind of powerful attitude where you are able to see opportunity in any moment, where you are able to keep your wits about you in any moment, where you are able to have an attitude about what you're facing that keeps you strong and keeps you in control, that your attitude day to day is keeping you anchored. So even when the headlines come in, if you happen to see them and they wig you out and you feel yourself succumbing, you can go right back to boom, having a powerful attitude. And one of the things that I've noticed, and I don't know if you notice this too, is I feel something huge bubbling. Something hugely positive bubbling. I feel that there is a collective shift in consciousness in human beings right now, that this change is happening and it could bring out so much good because it reminds you of the things that you know. It reminds you of the importance of community. It reminds you of the power of connection. It reminds you of the power of being a person who's optimistic and positive and powerful in your attitude. It reminds you of the goodness in people. And it reminds you that we are all so much more alike than when we are disalike. And I want you to be a part of this powerful collective shift in terms of the attitude and consciousness in the world. And I know that sounds like big ass stuff right now to be talking about on March 20th, but I'm telling you something, you have the power to shift the way that people you're interacting with think, because that's what the power of your attitude comes down to. When you show your children, your family, your friends, and your community that you're okay, you infect other people with this positivity. You show other people that it is possible to face what we're facing right now and not succumb to fear. Today, we're talking about the importance of building emotional resilience and why it is so important. And I found this quote. I want to read it to you because I want to get it right. I found this quote that most kids are going to remember how their family home felt during the coronavirus panic more than anything specific about the virus. And that's why how you respond is critical right now, because your kids, your family members, they're watching you, and from you, they are learning how to respond to stress and uncertainty. So I want to teach you how to wire yourself and your kids for resilience today and not panic. And this is critical. And you're going to hear me say over and over again that, you may feel alone, but you're not alone. You may be worried that society's not prepared for this, but you can prepare yourself for this. And you're also going to hear me say that this is an enormous opportunity for you to learn the skills of positive thinking, for you to learn the skills of having a calm mind, for you to learn the skills of how you take control when the world around you is swirling in panic and uncertainty. This, in a very weird way, is a gift that I want you to open and I want you to savor. Because before you know it, regardless of what everybody says, this will be over and life is going to go back to a different routine. And so you've got a chance right now to practice something that you haven't had a chance to practice in your life. And I'm going to be there staying connected with you to ground you and to give you the tools to do that. Come on in. Here comes the birthday boy. So before we get to you, let's get to Oakley. Oakley.
Yeah.
Happy 15th birthday, buddy. Oh my gosh. Here's what we're going to do. 3 steps to developing resilience today, not tomorrow, today. Number 1, you got to accept where you are and the fact that things are not going to change for a while, and actually accept the fact that it's going to get worse for a little bit until we can start to flatten this curve out. Okay. So you got to accept that you're stuck at home. You got to accept that you're a little annoyed. You got to accept that your teenagers are angry at you because everything just got canceled. You got to accept that you feel a little bit sad. I feel sad. And once you accept that, the accepting of those feelings will make them start to disappear because you are easing into the new normal. The second step of how you build emotional resilience is you've got to create a new routine and get yourself and your family on a schedule. What does that mean? That means you have a wake-up time. It means you get up and you exercise if that's what you normally do. It means you then take a shower. It means you don't live in your pajamas all day, every day. You get dressed. It means you eat healthy. It means you schedule time to get on and have virtual meetups with your friends, or virtual play dates with your kids' friends, or virtual dinner parties with your girlfriends that you can't see. That you schedule this in so that there's an amount of predictability to your day. And then the final thing is, when you figure out that schedule, that new routine of yours, get yourself on the list. What is your new self-care routine? If your old self-care routine used to be going to the gym, what is your new self-care routine going to be? If your old self-care routine used to be going out to your favorite restaurant, what's your new self-care routine? Let me give you a couple of examples. Number one, my new self-care routine is every day I'm obsessing about what I'm making for dinner, because cooking for me is tremendously comforting. And so I am going to cook bolognese sauce tonight because it's Oakley's favorite. And I'm also going to bake fresh bread because it's something that I love to do. My senior supervising producer from the Mel Robbins show, Andrea, she has been taking a bar class every day that she's streaming online. My executive producer, Mindy Borman, you know what she's doing? She wakes up every morning, takes a bath, and then she takes a wine glass. And you know that emergency stuff? She pours it into a wine glass, and she makes it a little fun, like vitamin C drink in the morning. My husband, every single morning, gets up at the crack of dawn, and he takes our dog for a walk in the woods across the street. And so if you are feeling anxious, sad, angry, resigned, whatever it may be, accept where you are. That'll make it start to disappear. Stop fighting it and accept it. And realize that the new normal is the normal for a couple weeks, a month, whatever. It is what it is. The second thing, create a new routine and get yourself and your family on a schedule. It is critical. And third, please reinvent self-care for yourself and get that self-care onto your schedule. You also tend to get a lot of positive emotion and praise when you're achieving those things. At least I did too. And I think that's why I chased it so much. I had fused the doing with being lovable, the achieving with being worthy. And so as I walk into the bathroom that second morning and the sort of profound nature of what was unfolding started to hit me, I have this second epiphany as I'm brushing my teeth. And that is this. Every morning, there are two people in the bathroom. There's you, and there's a human being in the mirror who needs you. They are trying so hard. They are waiting for you to wake up and to realize that they're there. They need your encouragement. They need your support. They need your love. They are so tired of you picking them apart and thinking about all the things that are going wrong. And as I put my toothbrush down, I remembered the fact that yesterday, the day before, I had been researching, how do I need to change right now? Because I have all these people on my team. How am I going to show up for my family? And I found this piece of research from Harvard that says that if you take just less than a minute of intentional reflection about how you're going to show up for the people that you're leading, and this could apply to your family, anybody, it changes your focus, your productivity, it changes your mood, it changes how you show up, your ability to impact. And for whatever reason in that moment, it all fused together. And I thought, well, what if I do that for me? And I asked myself a question I had never asked myself before. And it was this. Who do you need me to be today? Like I asked the woman in the mirror, who do you need me to be today? How can I show up for you? And, what kind of popped in my mind that morning was like, well, it'd be nice if you were kinder to me because I'm trying really hard. And then the next one was, it'd be great if you could muster up some optimism here. Have fun today. It's like, hell, throw me a lifeline, Mel. And as I thought about it, I then went and I raised my hand and I sealed it with this high five. And something like, it just felt like this fusion with the person in the mirror. And that's when I really got it. I got that this is so much deeper and more profound, because what I'm actually doing is I'm fulfilling my fundamental emotional needs. I'm seeing myself. I am meeting myself where I am. I am affirming my unique need
And I am celebrating myself exactly where I am right now, whether it's challenging, whether it's exhilarating. I am with myself right in that moment in a way that I don't know if I had ever been.
I think it's really, pivotal. And I want to reiterate this because I think it's such a great point of understanding. Back to that onion analogy again, when you said there's two people, right? And I could go as far to say that so many of us have different masks, different selves, right? The core, like we were just talking about, is who we really are. Though so many times in our day to day, we are showing up in all of these different ways, playing all of these different roles. And there is an us that we need to, and the journey becomes about connecting back to. So a lot of us are kind of at odds with even ourselves in so many moments because we're so practiced at showing up in all of these other ways that we've lost so much sight of the authentic core within each of us. And what you're also illustrating, I think that's so important, is the practice of that reconnection, right? And many of us start by not knowing, not seeing ourselves, not knowing what there is even to see or to self-express. For me, I share this story often. When I came to the awareness that I, like you and like many of us, filter the whole world through everyone else and what their needs may be, I had a big gaping hole of knowledge. I didn't know myself. I didn't really know that person in the mirror. I did know that we do, I believe, as humans universally. I don't care where you're signing onto this live right now around the globe. We have at our core the desire to be seen, to be heard, to be just in full self-expression, and for that to be enough. Yet I didn't know who that person was. So I share this because I do want to speak to the people who, as we begin to look in the mirror, and for a lot of us, it might just be a concept. Okay, there's an authentic self in there where I don't know where that person is. I don't know what that person needs yet. And that's when we begin the journey to explore. Because I, like many of us, didn't know at first, was profoundly uncomfortable with even beginning to ask those questions. What do I need right now? Can I just be enough in this moment? And it is the question that sets us off into the journey. And I share that because I know a lot of us, we want to know the answers, or we think we should, and then we shame ourselves out of even taking the journey into exploring those. But for me, I'll share, that's how my journey began. Not knowing at all, with incredible discomfort, even around stopping to even ask myself those questions. And of course, like you said, it does not happen overnight. I say there's no light switch here. Oh, I heal now. And again, I want to highlight the practice of it, right? Because there's concepts, there's books, there's, people and teachers and tools and techniques, and they're all in theory until, like I say, we bridge the gap from theory into action. And that's what I've always resonated so much with your work, from the 5 second, this idea of the tool. How do I practically apply this? And now, of course, the high five habit. How do I turn this idea into a daily action that can actually help me create the change that I'm looking for, to A, reconnect with that person beneath, and B, to over time, grow to love them. Over time, grow to love them.
You've also given me this extraordinary insight that I just got. So you asked me in the beginning, kind of, what is it that created all of this insight or this drive to figure it out? And I think I just figured it out. You just fucking did it. I just figured it out. I spent so long being dysregulated, having a nervous system that was constantly on edge, like what it felt like to be me any moment in my life, whether I was sitting in a classroom or I was sitting at that law firm bait stamping, or I'm sitting as a young mom with postpartum depression, or I'm sitting in yet another job I don't like, is it felt like being in a car at a stoplight that had a green signal, and the emergency brake was on and the gas was floored and I was going nowhere. Like just the engine revved and the sense that I needed to go, but not being able to go. And when I finally started to get control of my own thinking,
when I finally started to understand anxiety and how to quiet it in my mind and then how to quiet it in my body, when I finally got serious about understanding trauma and healing it in my nervous system first through EMDR, through therapy, through guided MDMA sessions, I finally had the experience of being in my body and being safe and being okay. And I hadn't had that in a really long time. And I'm so aware of when I'm not in my body now. I'm so aware of when my nervous system starts to go on edge that my tolerance for staying there is zero, because I lived for far too long feeling on edge, anxious, dysregulated, self-loathing. That when I dip into that space, and everybody, you dip into that space once a day, if not, like I used to live there. And so when I start to dip into that dysregulated, anxious, on edge, intense space, it's like, get this out of my body. We got to get back into my new default, which is grounded, centered, in control of what I'm thinking, what I'm going to do next. And it's a fluid situation. But you just gave me the insight as to why it's so quick for me now. Because I've made a commitment to myself that after spending 30 years that way, 40 almost, that I don't want to live another year that way, another week that way, another full day that way. Now, do I have things that happen in my life that are tough, that put me into a mode where I'm anxious and on edge? And of course. Do I disassociate when I get really awful? Of course. But I now have the tools to bring myself back into my body, to give myself the encouragement, the assurance, the support that I need so that I can face whatever's happening and know that I'm not only going to be okay, I'm actually going to be awesome eventually.
And chapter 3 starts on page 33, everybody. And let's go to how exactly do I start doing the high five habit? It's very simple. Every morning before you look at your phone or let the world in, take a moment to be with your reflection. The second you leave that bathroom, almost every moment is going to be about other people. Woo! Sorry, I'm just feeling very overwhelmed at the moment. So let me take a minute. Let me take a minute and use something from my book that I call High-Fiving My Heart. I don't know if anybody else feels overwhelmed by life right now, but I certainly do. And so when you feel overwhelmed, which I really do right now, I tried to push through it and I can't push through it. You're going to put your hands on your heart, and this is a way to snap yourself out of those moments where you feel really overwhelmed by life. And this is something I cover in chapter 13. So we're jumping ahead in today's reading. And you take a deep breath, just push on the center of your chest. It's called high-fiving your heart. And and you're just going to say, I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm loved. And you might need to do it 83 times some mornings. And this is one of those mornings where I definitely feel that I need to do it a couple times. You're going to take an exhale again. And you can do this with me. In fact, why don't you do this with me? I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm loved. 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 And the more that I say it, the more I feel myself coming back into my body. The more I feel my mind stop racing. The more I feel myself getting grounded back into what I call body confidence, which is not feeling confident necessarily about your looks, but feeling comfortable in your own skin. I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm loved. Whew. And I think what you're witnessing, everybody, is I've been on the road for 4 weeks straight trying to launch this book, do the things that you're supposed to do to be successful as an author. I have never done a book launch at this scale. I've never done anything that has been as successful as this has been. And it has literally kicked the shit out of me. It has just depleted me to be on the road for 4 weeks straight, to do as many amazing podcast interviews as we have. And I am exhausted. And so what you're seeing in real time is you're seeing that, regardless of what you think it looks like on the outside, when somebody like me hits the New York Times bestseller list or has the #2 selling book on Amazon, it may look absolutely incredible from the outside, but on the inside, like, we're running 1,000,000 miles an hour. And, I am absolutely committed to making sure that this book is accessible to everybody. And I have read your reviews, and the reviews are jaw-dropping and transformational. And so many of you have said this is the single best book you've ever read. You're reading it twice. You have said that it has taught you for the first time in your life to learn how to love yourself. And one of the core tenets inside this book is to give yourself the support that you need. And, one of the things that I learned in real time this morning is that I cannot do tech on my own and also be in front of a camera. And when I start to experience technology breakdowns like you witnessed in real time, whether it's me setting up cameras or me not having the proper browsers or me having landscaping folks who are amazing show up right in the middle of a broadcast and kind of experience breakdown after breakdown after breakdown after breakdown, just on the tech side, all little stupid stuff, all simple things, I get so emotionally depleted that it's really hard for me to be present in front of the camera. And so what you actually just witnessed was me having an emotional breakdown from being exhausted, from not from making the mistake that you make in your life, which is you take on too much, you don't slow down, you don't really think through what is the support that you need, you don't take the steps to put things in place, and then you barrel through. And barreling through lasts for short bursts, and eventually you'll end up doing what I just did. You will have an emotional breakdown. And it's okay. Like, it's okay. And what you also witnessed is that when you do feel yourself overwhelmed by life, and how many of you feel overwhelmed by the demands of your life right now? Absolutely. The stars on, or the hearts on Instagram are going absolutely crazy right now, because I think it's been a lot, everybody. It's been an absolute lot to go through the last 18 months and to deal with all the uncertainty. And, I want you to understand that your emotional needs are critical. And so learning how to stop when things get to be too much, and putting your hands on your chest and giving yourself a high five and learning how to come back into your body. This is something you need to know how to do. You also need to know how to high five yourself in the mirror. Because what would happen normally, everybody, if I hadn't discovered the high five habit and I hadn't been practicing it, full stop, what would have happened is after this broadcast, I would have beat myself up all day long. Why can't I do everything right? Why can't I put the proper things in place? Why can't I ever slow down? Why can't I do this? And so I would make what was already sort of this difficult thing to process become even worse because I just beat myself up all day. And, the truth is that your life will never go perfect. There will be tech breakdowns. There will be things that go wrong. There will be stuff that feels overwhelming, even though it seems kind of stupid and trivial to other people. And you got to know in those moments how to catch yourself when your attitude starts to sink. You got to know in those moments how to put your hands on your heart and how to breathe and how to say, I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm loved. You got to know how to use these tools so that you can support yourself through the ups and downs in life. It's fucking easy to support yourself when life is going well. It's easy to support yourself when you're winning. It's easy when you're surrounded by all kinds of people standing around you that are there to lend a helping hand. And I've got an amazing team. I got 4 people actually that are here on this broadcast with me. You can't see them. And they're trying to help too. And so there are going to be times in your life, even when you're surrounded by support, and your emotions are going to still get you the best of you. And so, I think that one of the gifts of having a breakdown live on camera with you and having you see how many things went wrong in one simple broadcast, and also watching me go down and then come back up. This is what this is about, everybody. This is about learning how to be so self-aware you can catch yourself, learning how to embrace your humanity, and learning, more importantly, how to high five yourself, both physically, metaphorically, spiritually, energetically, okay? So that you can support yourself. And, it's really cute. I love everybody on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, everybody who's cheering for me. And it's so cute. When somebody else is in breakdown, everybody literally is like, oh my God, let me help you. Maybe that's the secret, everybody, is actually having a breakdown in front of other people, because then other people will help you. When you try to have it all handled, when you try to tell everybody that, you got it all figured out, that's why you're constantly alone. That's why you're so exhausted. One of the things that we learned, by the way, from this is I should never be alone when I'm trying to do a live broadcast, because it just sets you up. Is there something in your life that you realize that you need support with, that you're not asking for help with? Why don't you put it into the comments? I just learned a very valuable lesson, that I should never try to do something live that is a multi-platform live stream without having a human being here, simply so that somebody can go and talk to the landscape person and say, don't blow the deck, or so that in case I need to find a charger, that they can do it, or so that if we have tech breakdowns, they can call the team. What is it that you realize, wow, I'm acting like I got it all figured out and I actually need support in this area? Because identifying it is super. It's like the first step. Identifying where you need support. You need support with parenting. I'm pregnant and I need people to stand up for my needs. I need to ask for help to slow down. I need support from friends when depression creeps in. There are so many things, Mel, that I need support with. Where do I start? What's the area that you feel like you're not going to high five? So there's some area of your life, and I love the high five as a decision-making tool. Oh, see, preparing for presentations at work. I need support with that. I do too. I can't create alone. I got to create where I'm reacting with people and freestyling in person. I need support with my finances. I need support with becoming a better leader with my team. I need support in expressing my emotions. Yes, it is hard to ask for help. And one of the reasons why it's hard is because most of us don't even identify where we need help. And it's clear to me that I need help in this aspect of what I'm doing. And, thankfully, I have a phenomenal team. And tomorrow, the broadcast will be different because I will have help. We will be on time. We will have somebody here. Our team that's remote will be supported too by the person that's here instead of having to deal with me while I'm in breakdown. I see that I see somebody saying I walked away from over 20 years as a VP and I'm procrastinating on not starting my dream. I need support. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I need support because my mother just died. I need support because I'm new to this country. So this is excellent, 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 excellent. And one of the ways that you can identify, everybody, where you need support in your life is what's an area of your life that you don't feel like high-fiving. Like a high five is an encouraging sign. A high five is something you celebrate. A high five is an area of your life that it feels good when you're in it. Now, I high five, by the way, any kind of production we do when I have team members here. But I've noticed that for me personally, trying to do anything, whether it's a speech that's virtual or doing a broadcast that's virtual and not having another human being here, it is literally a recipe for disaster for me. I do not high five that ever. And so you can use the high five, everybody, as a decision-making tool, a self-awareness tool. Where in your life, what area of your life would you not high five right now? And that is an area, everybody, where you need more support. You need more support for yourself. You need more support with your own emotional needs, and you need support from somebody else. Hey, it's Mel. Thank you so much for checking this video out. And if you like this one, I have a feeling you're going to like this one too. I'll see you there.